Hey everyone, I have Ryan Paugh here today with me, Chief of Staff over at the Y.E.C. How you doing today?
Doing well, June. Thanks for having me.
Oh, great to have you here. And so let's start off. In 30 seconds or less, can you tell me about yourself and about your company?
Sure. My name is Ryan Paugh. I'm a community builder at heart. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm the chief of staff for the Young Entrepreneur Council. Previous to that, I had started a company called Brazen Careerist, which is a social networking platform for Gen Y professionals. Y.E.C. is a invite-only nonprofit organization that advocates youth entrepreneurship as a solution to youth unemployment and underemployment.
Excellent. And tell me specifically, what does a Chief of Staff do?
So it's very similar, I guess, to like a COO role. I oversee all of operations for the company, trying to instill good community management into every single department that is a part of the Y.E.C, from our editorial department to our actual forward-facing community managers to what we do at a executive level with me and Scott as the leaders of the organization.
Excellent. And something that I know is a big question is a lot of companies or maybe even bloggers want to create a community of bloggers to write for their site, right?
Right.
You've done that 2 times already. How did you go about doing it? How did you get someone to commit to write for the site? Does it cost money? What does it really take to motivate someone to write for the site?
Sure. So both times that I did it, we didn't pay our writers. With Brazen Careerist, everything was through syndication or through people contributing directly to us. And with Y.E.C, it's very similar. We do syndication and we also do original content. And what I found both times is that really the way to get people to contribute to a community of writers is to give them something that they want, provide them with either a opportunity to network and connect with other individuals like them or people that could mentor them, or give them an opportunity to gain exposure. So a big benefit to the Y.E.C members who contribute to us is that we syndicate to 50 plus media outlets around the web. We have media partnerships with places like Wired, VentureBeat, Mashable, Inc., Forbes, just to name a couple, and that's very beneficial to their personal and company brands. So they're very interested in getting involved and contributing.
Excellent. And how did you forge those relationships with those top publications?
A lot of work. Admittedly, I would say that Scott, our president and founder, is really, really good at building media relationships and really good at PR, and he handles a bunch of those. But the ones that I set up personally, it's about really just giving them something that they need too. And most publications now are scaling back on in-house writers and editors and realizing that there's so much opportunity out there, content from different thought leaders around the web, and the internet really allows them to curate this content and bring it to their audience.
One of the many pieces of advice that people give online about, let's say, SEO is to write a lot of guest posts for sites.
Sure.
So in your experience, to get into these top publications, let's say a Mashable, a TechCrunch, let's say even a Huffington Post, whatever it may be, how
Right.
can a blogger get to become a contributing author into those sites?
Putting together a good portfolio of content that you've written in the past is a good way to do that. Knowing what the publications are looking for is very important. I think a lot of people will pitch ideas to publications without really going and reading the content and reading the kind of things that they'll normally pick up and write about. So see what's on the front page to kind of get your mind thinking in the heads of the editors, and don't be thinking just that whatever you pitch to them they're going to like. Because really, at the end of the day, they have a story in mind, and they're looking for trending pieces, something controversial, and something that no one's written about before. So you really have to put yourself in the minds of the editor in order to really pitch them the right way. And don't have your motives be at the forefront, but think about what their motives might be before you write that pitch.
Got it. And what is the best way to reach out to the editor? Is it through email, through Twitter? And then when you send them the pitch, is it an email with an attachment of like my previous work, or just links to my blog with work that I think is relevant? Like, how would you do it?
Well, most publications will have a direct editorial contact listed on the site. That's one way to do it, but you won't always hear back. The best way to really get in touch with the actual people is good networking and to have someone vouch for you, and that's really the best route to get in the door. But really, then you really need to have some quality content behind you. You have to have a track record. And if you don't have that, you need to find someone who's willing to give you a chance and be persistent and keep pitching, even though they may turn down your first few. I think eventually, if you remain persistent and interested and passionate, that they will say yes, and that's sort of your opportunity to shine.
Great. I asked you some questions about what you've learned and some advice you can give to entrepreneurs. One of them that I thought was really great was you mentioned that working with strong personalities that make you feel uncomfortable is the best way to learn and grow. So can you tell me about a strong personality that you've worked with and what you've learned from it?
Yeah, I think all of the co-founders I've worked with have strong personalities in a way, and they make you feel uncomfortable in a sense because they have different strengths and weaknesses than you, and a lot a lot of what I think makes a good founding team is that you can't get comfortable, and you need to have people around you who constantly challenge you to do better. So a good example of that, the first one is Penelope Trunk, and people always think I'm going to talk about her, but I'd like to actually rather talk about Scott Gerber, who I work with on the Y.E.C right now. And the way he challenges me every day is that he's always thinking bigger and thinking about what we can do next to really make an impact and really show people what we're all about. And I'm very focused on the day-to-day and sort of heading up operations, which is why I'm the chief of staff. So I think we're both sort of difficult for each other to work with in a sense, because he's always thinking big and I'm always thinking like, how can we remain focused? But really, the fact that we're both sort of thinking in about different things is so important to our success, because I think, without my focus on the day-to-day, the sheer structure of our organization would fall to pieces. But without Scott, we wouldn't keep pushing ourselves to do bigger and better things. And sometimes I need that push as an entrepreneur. So I always look for people who push me and kind of force me to go further than I would on my own. So find founders that make you feel uncomfortable, but always be willing to take risks and work with them and try to do those bigger and better things that you might be scared to do on your own.
That's great. And when you guys butt heads, you both are strong personalities,
Yeah.
Great entrepreneurs. I'm sure you butt heads all the time, like I do
Sure.
with my co-founders. How do you resolve the issues? Do you not resolve the issues and do you just move ahead? Like, what is that dynamic like?
I think we, if we can't find a compromise, we know that there's a problem, and that idea will probably get scrapped. More often than not, one of us backs down and realizes that, either this is a great idea, even though it might be big and it might take our focus off of what we're doing right now. We'll push forward because we think it would be great for our business and great for our community. And then other times, when there's something just totally out there and crazy, and I won't back down, Scott will realize that, okay, this might be too big for us, and if Ryan's not getting behind it, maybe we should rethink what we're doing here. It's about trust and trusting that if one of us thinks something's a really good idea or a really bad idea, we want to step back and rethink it before we just execute and go full force with that idea.
Awesome. And a question I get asked often from entrepreneurs is, how do I know when I've hit the wall and it's really time for me to start over and try again? And I'm glad you said that was one of the tips that you can give. So can you tell us, from your own personal experience, how did you know when it was time to move on to a new project?
Sure. So I guess the best example of that is moving on from Brazen Careerist to Y.E.C. When I decided to step down from Brazen Careerist, it was sort of the perfect storm of you know, right timing. We were building a really solid team. The organization itself was seeing tremendous growth, but I myself wasn't seeing tremendous growth as a person. And I felt like I had two options. I could either, stick around and keep cutting a check and helping the company any way that I could, even though the people around me were just doing an outstanding job of that without me there, or I could sort of step aside and look for new challenges and new opportunities to build community that didn't involve Brazen Careerist and would help me grow as a person and become a better entrepreneur and live the life I wanted to live. I think one of the red flags you always want to look out for is if you feel trapped in your job. You should never feel trapped as an entrepreneur. You should feel liberated. You should feel like you could accomplish anything. And when you feel like you're unable to challenge yourself when you wake up in the morning, that's sort of a red flag for me that it's time to move on to something else. So that's sort of how it went down. And it's hard to say. There's not a clear instruction manual for everyone. I think you kind of have you have to feel it in your heart and be willing to accept that it's time to move on to something else and not be afraid of it.
Cool, man. Yeah, thanks for telling us, about your personal experience. And
Absolutely.
Now being at the Y.E.C, you're exposed to so many entrepreneurs. I asked you, can you talk about maybe three? I know there's so many, but maybe three
Sure.
that you want to highlight that are doing really cool things and that watchers
So
of this
hard.
video should reach out to right now?
Sure. So, if you're like a brand new entrepreneur, I want to give, people who I know will respond to you and give you great advice. One person who I really admire in the Y.E.C and is always helping young entrepreneurs succeed and always helps me is a woman named Kelly Azevedo, and she is a great coach and mentor for entrepreneurs. She has worked with fantastic people like Ramit Sethi. She is someone to follow on Twitter and to reach out to and expect a response from, because she's that cool and that caring about other entrepreneurs. She wants to help them succeed. Caroline at Levo League is building an outstanding community right now for young women, entrepreneurs, or just young women trying to succeed in their careers. I strongly suggest that young female professionals check out their site and try to find a way to get involved, because they're about to do really, really great things. The third and final person I would suggest, I guess, would be Matt Mikiewicz from 99 Designs. He's always doing amazing things and very disruptive things. The reason I would suggest that young entrepreneurs follow him is just to see, a prime example of what a disruptive entrepreneur looks like, and always be looking for ways to disrupt industries, because those are the kind of businesses that really succeed nowadays. Follow him because he's always looking for ways to screw up like a status quo business model and come up with a new way of looking at things. So he's a really cool guy to follow.
Excellent. That is a great list. I'll ask you for the links for all their websites and
Sure.
their Twitter handles too,
Sure.
so I can link it up below the video.
Sure.
And, again, you're exposed to so many people. What is a common mistake that you see that you feel entrepreneurs right now should know right now, so that they don't make the same kind of mistake?
I think when you're starting out, one of the biggest misconceptions about entrepreneurship is that you need to keep yourself, and you need to be wary of people who are going to steal your ideas. And that's kind of really the backwards way of looking at things. When you come up with a good business idea, the best thing you can do with it is to share it with people in your network, people like you, people that you consider working with. Because the truth is, very few people can execute on a really good idea that you had. So I always tell people the best you could hope for is to get those ideas out there, share them with others, let them grow. Good ideas that become businesses don't get to a successful business place on one person alone. Usually the idea is it's a process, and having good minds working with you on that idea will help it grow and become something spectacular. So just always be sharing ideas and putting them out there. You're going to meet great people who want to work with you and make that idea come to life.
And on that note, a great way to share your ideas is, I'm sure, through the Y.E.C community. How can
Sure.
a person, let's say they're not in the community already, how can they apply to become a part of it?
So the way becoming a Y.E.C member works is it's an invite-only experience. So you need a referral from an existing member in order to apply. Once you apply, our membership council will review the application itself and decide if you're a good fit. Very soon, we're going to be launching a whole suite of different mentorship and online resources for aspiring entrepreneurs who wouldn't necessarily be a good fit for the Y.E.C membership now, but they're people that we can mentor as members of the organization. So be looking out for that coming this fall. We're going to start building a whole bunch of really great resources to help young people and to show them that entrepreneurship is a viable career path.
Excellent. And I do want to save some time to talk about the personal side of startups. You know, I have a girlfriend. I've been with her for almost 5 years now. You know, I have to balance work and life with her. You're married
Yes.
to Caitlin, who is awesome, by the way. How are you
Yes.
balancing work and life?
Well, it's even more stressful because we're both entrepreneurs and we both have our own businesses that are growing right now. I think the most difficult part from us is being able to turn off work. And it's funny, we actually have the same problem that Ryan Healy, my co-founder of Brazen Careerist, had when we first launched that company, which is, you're at home, you're working constantly. If someone's working and the other person's not working, you kind of get an anxious feeling like I should be working too. So I remember that from back in the Brazen Careerist days with Ryan, and now that I live with Caitlin and we're both sort of living those weird work lifestyles, we had to make some rules for ourselves as to to when we actually can have the computer open in sort of like our common areas. And after 6 o'clock in the evening, if you are working, we have our office area for that, and there's no working in the common areas because it can get kind of stressful, especially when you're trying to unwind and take a break from the work that you're doing. So we try to set boundaries. We also have both set up co-working spots for ourselves so we can get out of the house and aren't sort of in each other's hair all the time. And we kind of trade off days when we work in our home office versus working downtown in the co-working spots, just to make sure that we really value the time that we spend together as a couple. When you're both working in a small confined place all day together, you don't appreciate the time that you spend together at night as much. So we try to stay as out of each other's hair as possible during the day, so we appreciate that time together.
That's smart. So instead of working together all the whole day and then spending time at night, you have your own space. That's
Yeah.
cool. Something
Yeah.
that Kim and I are doing nowadays is I used to be so bad at checking my phone for emails during dinner or something, or for lunch, whatever we're doing. And now that's completely taken off the table. We cannot open our phones while we're having dinner or having food together.
That's really important. That's something we're working on too, is the no text messaging, no email stuff, like when we're spending time together, watching TV, eating dinner, out at dinner, or whatever. It's one of the challenges that we're working on now, so maybe that's something you can give me some pointers on as well.
Great. And so my last question, right before we wrap this up, is
Sure.
again, exposed to so many entrepreneurs, what is the one quality, maybe it's not even one quality, what are the qualities you look for in a successful entrepreneur? Because a lot of people want to be it, and a lot of people are going to work hard, and a lot of people are ambitious, but the successful ones, what do you think what is the quality or qualities that makes them stand out?
It's really, I think at the end of the day, hard work and perseverance. I think a lot of people become entrepreneurs because they think you'll have more time to do other things, and you won't have to go to sit in a cube all day, and that's true. You don't have to sit in a cube all day, but the idea that it's going to make more time for you and that you're going to have a better lifestyle because of it is all sort of a myth. Most of the entrepreneurs that I know who are extremely successful, at least at the beginning of their company, have had no lives at all. In fact, right now with Y.E.C, quite often I feel like, holy shit, I have no life. I'm literally working all the time. And it's sort of funny to think that, a lot of people find entrepreneurship sexy because they think, yeah, it's a lifestyle thing, and my life's gonna be easier and it's gonna be laid back. It's not. The most successful entrepreneurs that I know, they literally have no lives when they're launching their businesses, and they put their heart and soul into these things. And even even when you do that, it doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. A lot of times it's luck. So hard work is the most important thing. And when I see an entrepreneur who thinks that it's a lifestyle choice, I laugh, and I wish them well, but I just think that they don't know what they're in for.
If somebody wants to get in touch with you, what is the best way for them to contact you?
Just send me an email, ryan@theyec.org, or you can hit me up on Twitter at Ryan Paugh. Either one's fine. I'm really responsive, so if anyone has any questions or wants to talk about anything, just fire an email, and I will get back to you pretty quickly.
Terrific. All right, Ryan,
Great.
thanks again, and I'll be talking to you again soon.
All right, thanks a lot.